Okay, so this is the chapter 3, another part of this chapter 3, sedimentary rock. So the first slide is for the formations of the sedimentary rock. Okay, then what we want to look in this, so at the end of this slide, at the end of this part, you should be able to understand the formation process of sedimentary rock, how it formed. Okay, so it's actually refer back to the rock cycle. Okay, so previously kita dah study on the igneous rock, the formation of the igneous rock from the magma or lava due to the volcanism or the explosions of the volcanic. Then we move to the sedimentary rock. So actually the sedimentary rock can be made from the igneous rock, okay, and also from the sedimentary rock itself, okay, and also from the metamorphic rock. Okay, if you look at this arrow, all the three types of rock possible to undergo all the process to become a sedimentary rock. Alright, okay, so basically the igneous rock, sedimentary rock and metamorphic rock will undergo the weathering process or disintegrations secara physically or chemically, and then proceed with the erosion and transportations. After that, the depositions, and finally the rock will undergo the lithifications that consist of the compactions and cementations. Okay, we will go detail for each of them. So first and foremost, it will start with the weathering or disintegrations. All rocks are subject to weathering. How the weathering process occurred is actually due to the physical forces. For example, like water, due to the rain or snow, freezing and thawing, snow yang membeku dan mencair. Okay, due to the weather, the hot and cold, the hot during the day and cold during the night. After time to time, it will cause cracks to the rock. If you can see here, so we call it as a parent rocks. The solid rock, the larger solid rock, we call it as a parent rock. Then when it crack due to the weather, okay, exposure to the rain or snow, it will produce cracks. Okay, so when the hot and cold repeatedly raining will infiltrate inside the crack. So after time to time, the rock eventually will break apart and detach from the parent rock. So the rock will break into smaller pieces, and that the smaller pieces we call it as a sediment. Okay, the smaller pieces yang ada jatuh dekat bawah ni, we call it as a sediment. Alright, and then that sediment, okay, this is the sediment. Okay, due to the rain and also due to the wind or due to the water, it will eroded. Once it's eroded, they akan move from the, for example, from the upper to the lower part. So we call it as the erosions. And also due to the wave, can also eroded the rocks. Okay. Then again, that sediment will transported from one place to another place, but how that they transported is actually by the transportation agent. We call it as a transportation agent. Obviously, for example, we have the running water. So this is the most effective forms of sediment transport. It can carry large quantity of sediments. Okay, depends on dia punya velocity, kelajuan. If they have any obstructions, banyak halangan in between the process of movement, so velocity dia akan berkurangan. And also can be via wind and glaciers. Okay, wind normally in the area yang ada desert, kawasan padang pasir, yang mana that angin can transport the sediment. The glacier, at the glacial part, kawasan yang ada snow, freezing and thawing. So the environment kat mana kawasan deep transportation, it depends. For example, at the lake, kalau lake obviously water, dia punya transportation agent. Delta water, glacier is glacier. Okay, kalau kawasan yang daratan, sama ada by wind ataupun also by the running water. Okay, can be by gravity. For the hilly area, bila daripada atas, dia akan turun ke bawah, due to the gravity. Alright. Then during the transportations, especially kalau dekat air, that high energy current arrows can carry larger fragment. So once the energy decreases, the heavier particles will deposited and lighter fragments continue to be transported. Deposited means that the larger particles, the heavier particles, they akan settle down first. Okay. Then the lighter fragments or the lighter sediment akan continue to be transported to another places. And also during the transportation juga will cause to the rounding surface, meaning that the grains, the grain particles, the sediment during the transportations, dia akan collide each other, dia akan melanggar satu sama lain. So dia akan menyebabkan adanya abrasion, gesiran antara satu sama lain. So from the, for example, daripada yang angular shape ni, daripada yang ada angular shape, maknanya ada pattern like jack yang tajam ni. So bila dia transported, berlanggar antara satu sama lain particles, at the end of the day you akan nampak that batu akan jadi rounded. The sharp edge dia tu dah hilang, bucu yang tajam-tajam tu dah hilang, dia become more rounded. Alright, and then dia akan deposited. Once dia transported, dia akan takkanlah selamanya dia akan bergerak sahaja. For example, kalau dengan wind, takkan sentiasa berada di udara. At the end of the day, dia akan deposited. Deposited meaning dia akan stop dia akan stop at one places, and then dia akan lay dekat situ lah. Alright. So ini for example kalau dalam stream ataupun river, so all the heavier particles ni dia akan settle down first, dia akan deposited first, and then mana yang the finest, yang lebih ringan, the smallest tu dia akan deposited later or at the very top layer. Okay, alright. And this is the depositional environments. So the area of the depositional environment ni, it depends on the transportation agent tadilah. Kalau mana yang the agent of transportation is by water, so dia akan deposited of course in the area yang ada air juga. For example in the lake, rivers, marine, sea. Okay. Alright, that's for the formations of the sedimentary rock. And the last one is the lithifications. After it deposited, still masih lagi dalam sediment, belum totally transform jadi batu. Okay, it must undergo the compaction and cementation. Compaction means that the pressure from the upper layer Okay, for example, this is the first layer. Okay, the first layer of sediment that deposited, and then another second layer come, it will give pressure to the lower layer, and then another layer deposited, so it will give another pressure to the bottom layer. Okay, another layer came up, it will give another pressure to the bottom layer. So at the end you can see that the voids ni, the rongga ni, the kawasan-kawasan yang void ni, the space, the empty space will reduce, the empty space will reduce, and the arrangements of the sediment will be more dense, lebih padat compare dengan sebelum compaction. Alright, then finally there is a cementation. What is the cementation? It happens once the dissolved minerals dia masuk dalam void tadi, then it function as a glue to bind the sediment together. Okay, so any pores, any rongga, the space will fill up by the glues, fill up by the dissolved minerals to glue, to bond the sediment together, and finally then baru dia jadi sedimentary rock. Okay.